Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you're new. Well, all of you are new, but if you are new and just seeing this video for the first time, welcome. So that being said, today we are going to do a presidential primary prediction and why Republicans will win back the White House come November later this year. But before we get into it, we should start by taking a look at the primary election results so far. Trump has swept the board. Even in Nikki Haley's home state of South Carolina, Nikki Haley only won 3 of the numerous amounts of counties. Horry County, where Myrtle Beach is, Haley didn't do very well. Her home county, which is somewhere around here, I think it's Richland County. I don't know what her home county is. She only won the county by about 16 points, which is not really showing much in terms of her strength. She has withered quite a lot. But if we look at all the states, like Michigan, that's the last primary we just had. Trump swept the board with almost 70% of the vote. So she has no path to the nomination. And even if she won the nomination somehow out of a miracle, she would not be able to win a general election. But before we get into the prediction, let's also take a look at the current state of polling. If you factor in RFK Jr., we have a Trump plus 4.3 electorate, along with a bunch of other candidates like Biden and RFK Jr., along with Cornel West, Josh Stein, or Cornel West, Jill Stein, and a whole bunch of other candidates coming out in all the rest of the polls, aside from just a few. Trump is leading in poll after poll after poll. And then if we go ahead, we go here to the job approval rating. Biden's at an all-time low. He's like in the high 30s in a way with his approval rating. In the best case scenario, he's above 40. So if we go to here, he also does not get trusted a lot on immigration, as you can see from here. But if we factor in the rest of this, we go back to the polls, where it really matters is the swing states. Trump is up in a lot of the swing states by a bunch, and this poll here, Trump's probably more likely than not going to break, but if you look at Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan, Trump is doing very, very well in these states. So if we look at this here, he's got a 65-point lead in the Republican nomination, but we should also take a look at just Trump and Biden. If it's just Trump and Biden, Trump is up by 2, which is incredible considering he never led in any of the polls leading up to the 2024 presidential the 2020 presidential election, excuse me. This is my first video, so it might take me a little while to figure things out. However, if things keep going at the rate we're going to go, Trump's going to win back the White House. So that being said, let's start filling out the map. We're going to get all of the safe states out of the way. All the states that are foregone conclusion Trump's going to win by over 10. We'll do a probability prediction later on in the video where we can eventually determine what that scenario would look like. Also, South Carolina. People saying, oh, blue Texas. Texas is not going to go blue. So stop wishing. But anyway, let's fill out the safe states for the Democrats here. Hawaii, even though Trump will likely improve in Hawaii, but he's not going to carry the state. All these states on the east line here, except New Hampshire. Maine's first. New York, however, I do believe New York's margins are going to get closer. And then Colorado and Illinois. Illinois will probably also get closer, but it's not going to be enough to swing it in his favor. Anyways, the likely states, the only ones I can really think of is Florida and Texas. Florida, if anything, could be safe at this point. Just seeing how much Trump wins by in the state of Florida. Or Ron DeSantis won in the state of Florida. Trump's now got the backing of their governor. So now that he's got that, he very well could win the state by more than 12. It's very likely. I'm not going to rule it out, but it's also not a very that would be like best case scenario for Trump. We didn't expect Ron DeSantis to win with almost 20% of the vote in 2022. So some miracle could in fact happen on election night that pushes him above 10% win. Anyways, likely states for the Democrats. The only one I can think of is New Mexico and Minnesota, you could say. Minnesota is going to be close. However, I strongly believe that Trump's not going to be able to win the state. Lean states, this is where things get interesting. We're going to talk about North Carolina first, because you got a lot of conservatives moving into North Carolina. They're mostly moving into the Raleigh suburbs and the west side of the state, where trends are going to continue to shift right. We saw this in 2022, and we're going to see it again come 2024. Yes, they did shift to the left a little bit here, but when Bud won the Senate race, it all shifted to the right, and the North Carolina Republicans are competent. They do know what they're doing. Plus, Maine at large, likely Democrat. Maybe you could make a case for lean Democrat, but in this scenario, it's going to be likely Democrat. Along with Wisconsin, I don't know why people are talking about Wisconsin really being a true toss-up state. It's not. If you go back to the polling, and then you go to the general election, and then Wisconsin, while yes, Trump is up by just 1, that's a spread, but the latest polls that were conducted have Trump up by 4 and 3. So he's kind of at that point. So if it's going to be a lean, I'm going to say it's more of a lean in like close to 2, as okay, it's a lean in close to 5. So that is very possible that we see a big sweep in Wisconsin. On to Georgia. Georgia, we're going to have to give this lean as well to the Republicans. Unlike in 2020, Trump has a massive lead in Georgia with 48.5% to Biden's 42%. And it's more likely than not that we are eventually going to see Brian Kemp come out in support of Donald Trump, should he win, considering he will win the Republican nomination. He pledged to back whoever that nominee is, so that's good. You'll get a good governor to, in fact, get on the tails of Donald Trump and help him win the election. Anyway, lean Democrat states, Virginia. With seeing all the third parties showing up on the candidate list, I strongly expect Virginia to be a lot closer than a lot of people realize. Same goes for New Hampshire. If we go back to 2020, here, Virginia really shifted left from 2016, where in 2016, Trump lost the state by only 2 with a high third-party vote share. Then Youngkin came in and won the governor's election. However, I don't believe an endorsement of Glenn Youngkin is going to be enough to shift the state to the right. So it's going to be lean Democrat unless something magically happens on election night, not ruling it out, but it's very possible that a surprise does happen on election night. And with that being said, let's also fill out Nebraska second. That's too much of a lost cause. They redistricted it, so it could be a little bit closer, but I don't see it as of right now. That being said, Republican states, Michigan, we're going to give this one to Trump. I don't think we got to explain anything here. Trump narrowly lost the state in 2020, as you can see, to Joe Biden. He only lost it by like 3 points, or less than 3 points. We go to the full results, you can definitely see here exactly what happened. And same goes for John James. He almost won the Senate race here in Michigan as well. However, I strongly believe because the Michigan Republican Party, as many of you know, has new leadership, it could get wider, the gap could get wider, and Pete Hoekstra said he's going to do whatever it takes to get Trump over the finish line in Michigan. So yeah, you're starting to see competent state party in Michigan. You absolutely love to see it. That being said, I think Pennsylvania will also go to Trump's column. Biden is just that unpopular. Good old Scranton Joe just won't work this time around. Strongly disagree. People hate Biden there in Pennsylvania. However, it's going to be a crucial state. If Trump gets Pennsylvania and Georgia, he will win the election, no problem. But we all know the you-know-what that will happen in Philadelphia, possibly later this year. That being said, let's analyze our last 2 states, which in my opinion are probably the most competitive of the 2 states on this entire election. Nevada, do I really need to explain this? It's going to go tilt Republican. The state party's competent. got Joe Lombardo's endorsement. There's really nothing that could go wrong in the state of Nevada when it comes to the presidential predictions or presidential election. If you have a popular governor who gives out an endorsement, and Lombardo, relatively well liked. Trump is also doing very well in the state, polling wise. He's got a 7-point lead over Biden. Now, do I think it's going to be 7 percentage points? No, but I strongly believe that with a high third party vote share, it's going to eat into Biden and give Trump the win in Nevada. And next up, Arizona. I also believe Arizona will flip to Trump in the end. Arizona is going to be a hard one because it's kind of trending away from Republicans, but the state party is getting competent. They're raising more funds, so very likely that that state does come out and flip for Donald Trump. So that being said, there you have it. 312 to 226, Trump wins the election. So that being said, this very well is what we see come election night. So that being said, thank you so much for watching. Peace on out.